Okay, so unfortunately, we had a small technical difficulty, and during this personal video that I'm trying to do for you guys, we filmed about 24 minutes and lost half of it. Yeah, 12 minutes. 12 minutes I was talking, and there was no recording. So I'm kind of going back and redoing everything, and this video is probably going to be kind of split up into two. It was long anyways, and I know that's kind of a long time for you guys to sit through me talking, but I definitely wanted to finish it. So that is why I look so tired, because unfortunately I couldn't finish it earlier because I had to go to a dance show, which was super fun. But now I'm back, and I kind of want to pick up where I left off. And I think where I had left off was me kind of explaining steroids and what they kind of do and their side effects, and how I've been on them a lot, and they really do create a me that I really do not like. It's breakouts, and it's bloating, and it really does kind of mess with your appetite, whether at some points you're more hungry and then at other times not so much. And it just really creates, like I said, a me that I don't like. And I really do feel like it's like, ugly stamp right on the forehead, and I have no choice but to walk around that way and really just look sick, to be honest. You just look unhealthy to me. So that has been kind of a struggle, because I know that normally that's kind of the only fix, because it works pretty it works pretty immediate. It's pretty amazing how different I can feel once I do start the dosages for that. But unfortunately, when I had been on them for so long that summer when I was sick, it created ovarian cysts for me and just a few other things. And like I said, it really is kind of a trickle effect. When you start trying to fix one problem, then somehow you end up with like 10 more. So going through that, I kind of made it through finally and was being treated for the lupus, and did eventually get off the steroids. And it was I had to really come out of kind of a deep depression, that all these things that I had gone through, it really is true. I kind of stay strong when I'm going through all of it, and then once it's all done and you would think I'm better, then that's kind of like when the mental side kicks in, and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've just been hit by a train. So I finished that and was better for a while, but again, winter rolls around and I'm suffering with my joints, and it being cold, that makes it so much harder. And that's kind of another thing, if you haven't noticed, is I have a large ganglion cyst on my wrist. You guys are pretty good at spotting things out, so you probably did notice, and you just were nice and didn't say anything. But it's on my right hand, and we're actually only seeing half of it, if you can believe it. It's a walnut size, and it's attached to my bone. So I'm actually going to be seeing a doctor next week, because I have to have it surgically removed, which I'm really not looking forward to. But this has kind of been caused because my joints are so bad and all the trauma, and it just kind of created a cyst. And I got this right before I got pregnant, but because I got pregnant, there was nothing I could do, and so I've kind of just had to suffer through it. And I didn't want to do it after I had the baby, because it's supposedly like a 6 to 8 week kind of full recovery thing, because it is my right arm and holding the baby and everything. But yeah, anyways, so that explains that ugly thing on my wrist. But bringing up my whole pregnancy, like I said, I had kind of still suffered. Things just kind of seemed to progressively get worse, and I did flare more often. And about a year before I got pregnant is when I was as sick as I had ever been. It was a nightmare, to be honest. And it was, gosh, I started flaring in December, which was kind of normal, like I said, and I was put on steroids then, and I started to wean, and the paniculitis came on my legs, and it got so bad that I was literally covered from my legs all the way up to my arms, and I couldn't move, and my husband had to help me get out of bed and help dress me and help me do all these things, and my family was trying to help me as much as they possibly could. And at that point, my doctor just decided that I was in too bad of shape and that I needed to be admitted to the hospital. So that was kind of a big thing. My body at that point, I really just felt like it was giving up on me. It was done. I was dying, and there was nothing I could do about it. And it was sad. It was really sad. It was really hard for me because, like I've said, I was so active, and I really do try to do as much as I can and dance and do all these things, and it was literally physically impossible at that point. So I was in the hospital, and they once again started me on like the highest dosages of steroids, and I was on steroids all the way from, like I said, December and all the way to my birthday, which is May 4th, and that was like a really awesome special birthday for me that year because that was the last day of the steroids. And throughout all that time from December to May was a big pivotal time because I had been in and out of the hospital, and all this had caused lots of issues, and I saw lots of doctors. I went to an integrative doctor, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a homeopathic doctor, but also does Western medicine as well. So she tried to do all these things for me, and my rheumatologist tried to do all these things for me, and we were just really stuck in a we don't know what to do stage because every time I would wean from the medicine, everything flared back up. And at this point, I had drastically changed my diet. I had lost almost a little over 20 pounds, and I wasn't really that big to begin with, so I got pretty small. But we were at our wits' end, and kind of our last-ditch effort was to go to UCSF, which is in San Francisco. And I met with a team of doctors. It's a teaching hospital. I met with a team of doctors, and they found out all my symptoms, and at this point I was covered in the paniculitis, and I had a fever, and my heart rate was through the roof. And that's another thing I've dealt with is I do run tachycardia, and all this has caused a leaky heart valve for me. So all of that being said, and they were looking at blood work and all these things, they decided they were going to sit down together and kind of talk it out and see what they could come up with. So when they came back to me, they said, we don't really think that it's lupus. And me, after all these years, I mean, at this point I was 23, 22, probably 22. I take that back. I was 22. I had gone from age 8 to 22 thinking, oh, okay, rheumatoid arthritis, oh, okay, lupus, and a bajillion other things in between. And now all of a sudden they're going to change the diagnosis on me again. And they said, yeah, it would kind of make more sense, and we think that you have Behçet's, which makes more sense now because it's very similar to lupus. However, it's more vascular, which was explaining the lumps all over me and the mouth sores that I get. And if you can believe it or not, because I have such thick hair, when I am sick, I lose a lot of hair. It comes out in clumps and stuff. So in some weird kind of way, I was happy that they were changing the diagnosis, as scary as it was, because of course the first thing I wanted to do was go Google it, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're dying tomorrow. Okay, so it was kind of a freak out situation. However, I knew with that came a whole new catalog of medication that was going to be offered to me, and I thought, well, I may as well try something else because obviously what we've been doing for all these years isn't working, and we need to get this under control. So I started that medication and I finished the steroids, like I said, on my birthday. And amazingly enough, I was feeling so much better. And, still having good and bad days, but I felt overall so much better than I had in months. And actually, truthfully, probably longer than months. I was suffering and really not even knowing that I was actually suffering until some of the pain was taken away. So that was something that is so cool, and I'm so thankful to those doctors that they were willing to actually, take the time to really think out of the box about something that, is more rare. So that was really, it was really something that was really cool to me and my family. And that's kind of another thing that I wanted to say is being sick and dealing with all this, it really does put you in a lonely place. And people that I always thought would be there, that I was close with, when I would get sick, they weren't there. They weren't there for me. And it was kind of a rude awakening to some of the relationships that I had with people, because I thought we were closer than that. And amazingly enough, the people that I wasn't as close to were the ones that stepped up and helped in this situation. So to those people who were there for me and that I am so thankful for it, you know who you are. I just want them to know that it means more to me than they probably ever will probably know, because it was such a big time in my life. And to kind of wrap things up, because I know this has turned into quite a long video, and I know it's a lot because it's just me basically talking, but I kind of felt like, not that I owed it to you, but I felt that I needed to kind of open up and kind of really share my symptoms and my journey and all these things this far, because I feel like some people could look at my situation and all that kind of as a curse, or have some sort of guilt for me, or feel sorry that I've had to go through all these things. But I don't like to look at it that way. I kind of like to look at it as, I don't know if a blessing is the right word, because I'm not super happy that I have this illness, but it's definitely something that I feel like has changed my outlook on life and kind of how I deal with things in life in general. So I do feel like I'm happy, and I want people to know that just because you have something and you suffer from something, and something that it can be so big in your life, that I was still able to get married, and I was still able to have a baby, and he's healthy. And even those days when I don't feel like getting out of bed because it's hard or whatever's going on, that it's totally worth it. And like I said, even sometimes it's hard to hold my son because my joints are so bad, but again, it's worth it. So I hope me sharing all this with you, you can kind of get a better grasp on how a loved one feels, or maybe how you even feel. I don't know, but so if you haven't already, go follow me on Instagram, and you can see our crazy life through pictures and now video, which is pretty cool, I think. And follow me here, or subscribe to me here if you haven't already. And the Instagram is @MommaMakk, and you're here @MommaMakk. And follow me on Twitter as well @MommaMakk. And thanks for watching. Bye.